Red River, running warm and dry. Red River, there's no more time.
One of our characters today, I met him, 12 years ago? 11 years ago?
2012? 2000, no, maybe even longer.
Okay, let's say 12 years ago I met him. And
we don't want to do the math.
He was a sales director when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
So you were dealing with, persuading people to buy advertising.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct. And persuading people to work.
Because we were doing that together.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you are now an artist. You have an album coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You've also done some acting.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Tell me, how did all that happen?
Well, I moved out here with the goal of becoming an artist. I wasn't totally sure what that meant. Honestly, the original plan was a screenplay, which I have written and completed. That is, like yours, based on our former line of work, with all the amusing anecdotes and stories, tied in. So I came out here with this idea that I could make this a movie. Okay. Then in the background, I've always been dabbling in music and writing and performing. Back where I was living for the last several years in Indiana. And that was also something I wanted to sort of attack while I was out here. And it just, when you moved to LA, there's so many opportunities, and you're pulled in so many directions, and your mind is kind of, it really sort of feels this energy out here, this artistic energy that the community has, that the city has. People tell you should be in voiceover, take voiceover classes. So originally I thought, I'll try to get some work as a voiceover artist. And then that led, based on my classes, I realized, wait, I can act, because voiceover is acting more than people think.
Yes, it is.
And so that led me to try to pursue more actual on-camera acting. Tim Bradley, Bulgarian expeditionist. This is a Frank Lloyd Wright house. Well, you can tell because of the cube style there, like these tile cube things, blocks. He did a lot of that, and I read it, so I know. Yeah, it's from my book.
And somebody lives here now?
I don't know. I mean, I've never seen a car here before. I think they're trying to keep it up and maybe fix it up. It's a little bit dilapidated. A lot of Frank Lloyd Wright stuff in LA is kind of falling apart. But hell, it's still Frank Lloyd Wright. It's just, it's odd, right? Look at it. It's just stands out.
I know.
And I'm sure on the inside, it's very cool.
How old were you when you moved out here?
Ooh, do we have to go there? What?
But that's it's a question that leads to me saying that you're incredibly brave.
Oh yeah, I moved out here when I was 41. Just about to turn 41.
And that's incredibly brave, because normally you have to be 20
Correct.
to start entering this business.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting point and something I've thought a lot about. It's, especially in music, what are you trying to do? Become a rock star when you're 40s, But why not? Times have changed, things have changed. I think, for me personally, this is the right time for me. We're all very different. I think if I would have moved out here like so many people do in their early 20s, I think that I would have failed. And I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of people come out here and fail very quickly when they're very young, because, you need financial structure, you need stability,
But you have another job.
Correct. I have
Being
another
an
job.
artist still is not your main income.
No. It's no income. It's negative income.
It takes real pain to be an artist.
it's a hole in the boat. I'm just putting money into it because I believe in it. I believe in art. I want to be an artist. And just to get back to that point about moving out here now. For me personally, I had nothing to say when I was 25. Nothing at all, and not everybody's like that. I get that. You can have a lot of experiences by the time in very young age, whether traumatic things like this, which is what a lot of artists pull off of. Let's face it, tough, trying times that kind of brings out art in people. But when I was, I hadn't really lived or been through anything.
Girl named my yellow cat, she broke my heart until she always claimed to love the way I sing my songs for you. The record played, it was a Saturday. In fact, it was a swim.
We're halfway done with the album in terms of recording, and we recorded it at the old TTG Studios, which is where Jimi Hendrix recorded. It's his favorite studio on the West Coast. The Doors recorded there, Velvet Underground. Frank Zappa did Hot Rats there. Very, very cool, iconic, little place that you would never suspect is a legendary, groundbreaking record studio. It's groundbreaking in the construction. So like, back then in the 60s, rock and roll was new. They didn't have studios for guys who wanted to wail on electric guitars and make a lot of noise. Studios were for symphonies and for jazz bands and, singers like this. So this guy created I can't remember his name, but he developed this studio, and it was the first on the West Coast, and it has one of the unique features is it has uneven walls. So the walls aren't parallel, and this has to do with the acoustics of rock and roll amps. And that's why Jimi Hendrix loved it. So, and it hasn't changed. So there's some really awesome photos of Jimi Hendrix in there. And then of course, of myself, Indiana Bradley, in the same space, it's like mind blowing, like, whoa. So this is Hollywood Heights. You see that barn thing, kind of? Kind of right, like on the street level almost?
Yeah.
So that was one of the first studios in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah. And it was converted then by the studios and became like a gym. They have a whole history thing there. Like, who used to work out there? I think it was like Charlton Heston's gym. He used to like pump iron there, and Steve McQueen and stuff.
Whoa.
And then you go up into the Whitley Heights neighborhood, like just kind of above there. And like Rudolph Valentino lived up in there. Charlie Chaplin lived in Whitley Heights. Jean Harlow's mansion. These were like the first celebrity neighborhoods in LA. Okay.
Before Beverly
So
Hills.
before Beverly Hills, before, Malibu, Pacific Palisades, all those places, this is where they were. I mean, Rudolph Valentino, like that was his hood. And there's stories about, it was great for them because all the this is fucking Hollywood. This is where the studios were, they weren't in the Valley and all these other places. So, he could go to work easily. He could go to all the speakeasies on Hollywood Boulevard, get hammered, bring a girl back, And there's like stories of how he was such a heartthrob, women would like wait for their husbands to go to work and then like try to go outside and do gardening work and try to catch him like walking up and down the street,
Oh my God.
These weird houses, like I nerd out on the houses. I just think they're like super cool, and I just know how much they're worth. I mean, even though obviously we've all seen amazing, massive, big houses, but being where it is, like I know like what this shit is worth, and it's just like, and it's just one after another, you know, like it's an elevator for the neighborhood.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and that was in the famous Elliot Gould movie, The Long Goodbye.